Hi folks, sorry it's been so long since the last vid. I've actually just finished building my elderly mother a house, which she's very happy about. Anyway, for my next project I'm going to be doing a camper van, another one, and I'm a bit tired of the old wooden workbenches and not being accurate enough or dimensionally stable. So I thought I'd build something along the lines of a welding fixture table, because of course you can put a wooden top on this if you want to do sort of delicate work, or keep it metal like it is for welding and such like. Anyway, I thought I'd make a combination bench so I could put my sight saw, my offcut saw, etc, etc. But building a bench out of steel, this bench actually weighs just under 300 kilos now, which is ridiculous because when it's on the floor it does not move. And you could just see me there, 6 or 8 pumps. You don't actually need that many, and it lifts it up like a feather. That's an 8-ton long throw jack, which are cheap off eBay. And here's me playing with a wood vise I got cheap off Facebook Marketplace. I stuck on the nylon chopping board that everyone uses. Great material for vise jaws, highly recommend that. That was a bit awkward to mount this vise because traditionally you cut a notch out on your wooden bench, so I had to make some pillars and etc etc to mount this vise so it would work for this bench. So as you can see, it operates in 2 different slots. So I decided to build this bench out of tube and leave all the ends open, so all those ends are really useful for slotting things in, as you'll see. Just moving it around just to show you. Considering its weight, its small footprint, it's got a lot of mass in one area. Now I decided to create this, I haven't seen this done before, with having a central jack in the middle. Usually the jacking benches have got a jack either end, but I didn't want to walk around the thing and have to operate 2 jacks to raise off the ground. I just wanted one quick action and so I could move it. Because my workshops now are shipping containers, and the space is very limited, as you can imagine. So I just wanted to be able to crank a handle really quickly and move this bench out the way. So engineering wise, the central jacking point could be an unstable idea because it puts a lot of stress and strain on the central pivot, but it works very well, as you can see. So I think there's 174 holes, all 16mm. I'd have to drill into that. This is 15mm plate, and I left a gap in between each platen so I can get clamps in. There's a track saw clamp. As you can see, you can get to everywhere. And the piece de resistance is this guy, which is in the 16mm holes. It's like a fixture bench. You can clamp anywhere, and it works extremely well. So that's just a pictured clamp, and just welded it onto a 16mm high tensile bolt. So that's a tube in a tube, and I'll be using washers tacked on with the welder as bearings. So as you can see, when they're in there, they're snug as hell. That saw actually sits on that bracket with U-bolts when you want to fix it down properly. That's stitch welded underneath. I didn't want to do a continuous weld to stop it warping. That's the top of the jack, 16mm bolt. That's a reasonable heavy duty vise. Another tube in a tube using the bearings, washers as bearings. That's 10mm plate the vise is sat on. That's fully welded, that one. So all this has been made with the cheapest, crappiest welder I could find. I wanted to prove a point. And this is flux core welding, and I tell you what, I'm blooming impressed with it. The penetration on dirty metal is incredible. I could not believe, I mean, the welding's not beautiful at all, but the penetration's fantastic. Very, very impressed with something that cost me, I think it was about 80 quid, £80 in English terms. So you can see the long throw jack. It does a marvellous job of being able to push this very heavy top and base down really quickly and easily. That's they're M10 handles, and there you can see 8-ton long ram jack, and that's 3mm plate for the shelves just tacked on. The top shelf actually is a good protection if you're welding it. All the spatter doesn't go below, because I usually store my chop saw, the metal chop saw, underneath. I didn't want the motor getting filled with swarf. So that shelf there acts as a very nice shield to underneath. So I've fancied up the welding a little bit there. So there's the M12 high tensile bolts are threaded into the plate, and there's 2 nuts underneath and 2 nuts in the middle where you just saw. So 4 nuts in for each bolt. So with that system you can level the top to perfection. I mean, it's so flat it's ridiculous, and it will stay like that. Doesn't matter what temperature it is, it'll be flat. And yeah, so those feet there, they can have some U-bolts that go over them, as you can imagine, and that thing does not move. And the idea of this was that the top of the saw is flush with the top of the table, and you can just run your timber through using the table as part of the bench. Tell you what, everybody needs a quick release vise. Doesn't matter if you work in metal or wood, they are absolutely fantastic. And with those sacrificial jaws made out of nylon, you can put, I've been welding in those, hot metal, they're virtually indestructible, amazing. These posts are for the supports for this extension. At the end of the video I will give dimensions for the whole thing, because I'm sure you're curious to what size all this is. So that's just one quick clamp on there. It goes back for another go just in case. So there's 2 of those, of course, and I can actually sit on that. That's just how strong those clamps are. So that's the idea. You put a piece of wood on the folding out bit. So you just adjust that folding out flap. Actually is adjustable up and down. So you can see that's 20 centimeters by 60. I had these water cut to stop any distortion. There's a 16mm hole. I cut those with a broach bit on my very cheap eBay gearhead drill, which you'll see at the end of the video. Absolute bargain. So they're 4-inch channel. Not accurate, but beautiful base for the bolts. That's 70mm, 60mm box, 4.5 centimeters. That's a 16mm bolt welded into a gate eye. 4 centimeter. This is heavy walled box, necessary for the brute strength of that to stop it warping or moving when you open the flap out. That's more heavy walled box, 4 centimeters, tack welded a washer, as you can see, and that's the frame for the saw. I just ground the welds on this side, on the other side I left them. A 9-inch vise. And this stuff, Bryowax, highly recommend it, but careful, it uses toluene as the solvent and it does cause cancer. Sorry about that. Here's my drill. That was 400 quid on eBay. Cannot believe my luck. What a beast. And I made that dolly underneath. So that weighs just under 400 kilos and I can move it around with one just quick push. And there's my cheap and nasty welder, which actually is not cheap and nasty. There is the clamp that I changed. The clamp that came with it was crap, so I tossed that and I put in a decent clamp, and you can see there's a thrush washer on there which makes tightening up just that much easier. And there she is. Very straightforward, great proportions, really easy to operate in a small confined space. Hope you like it. Thanks for watching.